As a certified orthopedic surgeon, I have spent over 41 years inside operating rooms and rehab floors, working alongside the world's leading experts from Japan to Germany. I have watched bodies break, heal, and rebuild. Yet today, a dangerous message is being repeated by longevity influencers and tech startups. They say walking is enough. They claim that after age 75, you don't need resistance or power, just steps. But as a surgeon, I'm asking the questions they ignore. How can walking rebuild muscle that has already wasted away? How can it restore balance if stabilizer fibers are never activated? How can walking strengthen bones when there is no load and no tension? Walking alone cannot prevent falls when fast twitch reactions are not being trained. It does not match biomechanics, and it does not match the surgical outcomes we see in real patients every day. To find the truth, a group of 22 surgeons reviewed hundreds of medical papers and studied rehab programs across 9 countries. We tested routines on ourselves and analyzed hundreds of exercises. Most helped a little, but 5 delivered what science rarely promises: visible, measurable muscle restoration even after age 75. Today, we are revealing the 5 specific exercises every senior must do instead of relying on walking alone. Stick around, because number 2 can rebuild lost muscle faster than any routine we have tested in 4 decades of practice. Before we begin, I have a quick question for you. How old are you? Share your answer in the comments. Our team reads and replies personally to every single one of you. Now, let's start with a movement almost no senior practices, but which instantly awakens strength that walking could never reach. Number 5 is the tandem walk. In clinical settings, we often call this heel-to-toe walking. While it looks simple, the science behind why it works is fascinating. It specifically targets something that declines rapidly after age 75, your proprioception. This is your body's ability to know where it is in space without having to look. It is the reason you can touch your nose with your eyes closed. After 75, the nerve endings responsible for proprioception send weaker signals to the brain. Studies show that proprioceptive accuracy decreases by approximately 25% between the ages of 65 and 80. This means your brain is getting less reliable information about where your feet are. Heel-to-toe walking forces your brain and body to communicate more precisely because you are essentially walking on a tightrope. This narrow base of support makes your nervous system work overtime to keep you balanced. Retraining this connection is something that regular walking on flat surfaces simply does not do. Number 4 is the chair squat. This exercise addresses one of the biggest predictors of whether someone will maintain their independence as they age: the ability to get up from a seated position without using your hands. Research shows that the ability to sit down and stand up without assistance is directly correlated with longevity. After 75, the muscles responsible for this movement, primarily your quadriceps and glutes, start losing mass at an accelerated rate. Chair squats are the most functional way to fight back against this decline because they mimic exactly what you need to do dozens of times every day: getting up from a chair, out of a car, or standing from the dinner table. The execution matters. You must lower yourself back down with total control. That slowing down phase is where the muscle building happens. Even more impressive, practicing this improves walking speed and the ability to climb stairs far more than walking itself. Number 3 is standing hip circles. This is a movement that most people have never considered, but it is absolutely vital. This exercise targets hip mobility and the strength of the small stabilizer muscles that surround your hip joint. These muscles are what allow you to recover when you stumble or trip. When you lose your balance, your body instinctively tries to step out to the side to catch itself. If your hips are stiff, your body simply cannot make these emergency corrections fast enough. Weakness in the hip abductors is the single strongest predictor of falls in adults over 70. Standing hip circles address this by moving the hip through its full range of motion while forcing those stabilizer muscles to fire. Walking only moves your hips forward and backward in a limited range. It does nothing to maintain the full mobility of the joint. Number 2 is the isometric wall push. This is where we get into exercises that are essential for anyone over 75. An isometric exercise is one where you exert force against an object that does not move. This type of training is incredibly safe for joints because there is no impact and no movement through ranges that might be painful or arthritic. Research shows that isometric training can increase muscle force production significantly more than traditional resistance training in older adults. Even more important is the rate of force development, how quickly you can generate force to catch yourself during a stumble. The wall push specifically targets your core, chest, shoulders, and the stabilizers throughout your trunk. It teaches all these muscles to fire together in a coordinated way, which is exactly what happens when you need to brace yourself for support. Finally, number 1 is the single leg stance. This is the most important exercise for anyone over 75. Standing on one leg might seem too basic, but the science tells a different story. The inability to stand on one leg for 10 seconds is associated with a tripled risk of experiencing a serious fall. Single-leg stance training alone has been shown to reduce fall risk by over 40%. The reason it is so effective is that it integrates everything: balance, proprioception, hip stability, and core activation. Walking is essentially a series of brief, single-leg stances. Every time you take a step, you are briefly balancing on one leg. The stronger and more stable you are on each leg individually, the safer your walking becomes. Walking does not replace this because during a normal step, you are on one leg for only a fraction of a second. By holding the position for 30 seconds, you give your nervous system time to build the endurance needed to protect you. Walking is wonderful, and you should absolutely keep doing it. But as the research clearly shows, walking alone leaves critical gaps in your physical fitness. Your proprioception, your sit-to-stand power, your hip mobility, and your single-leg stability all need specific attention. The good news is, these 5 exercises together take less than 15 minutes per day. You do not need a gym, and you do not need equipment. Every single one of these movements can be modified to match wherever you are right now. Your future self will thank you for every second you invest in these movements today. Take care of your body because it is the only one you have. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these 5 exercises are you going to start with today? Share your experience in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and here is to living life with strength, dignity, and total independence.